All right, good. Woo, we're live. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Hi, Maria.
Hello. How are you, Nan?
Oh, fantastic. So, in transformation, like everybody else, right? We're in a big metamorphosis and woo, the end of the snake year and all of these wonderful things. So, as we are getting ready to go into the new moon on Saturday and the solstice on Sunday, then, or the longest night, right? Then we're going to return to the light. We are going to be doing a solstice ceremony live stream with my Mayan and Aztec friends. So I just want to make sure everyone knows we started talking about this a few weeks ago. We said we'll do something, but now I am getting them. They're driving across the jungle. They're staying at my house. We're making food for them, and we're going to have the full regalia. They're going to bring all of their wonderful costumes they make themselves with the feathers. And BNA, many of you know Christian. If you've been to our live retreats here, we always do ceremony with Christian and his team and his wife. And his Mayan wife will not be here because she is going to give birth in 2 weeks. So it's a really fun. Hi, Kelly. There's Kelly from our retreat. It's so much fun. We haven't done this. We started doing this during the pandemic because we couldn't do live retreats. So we've decided to reboot that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be right here at the beach house, and we will have internet, and we will have the recording for you as well. So make sure you check that out. I'll just pop that up here. It's in the shop there, and all the money goes to pay for them, pay for their transportation, their accommodation, their food, and to pay them for sharing their culture. And it's always beautiful. It's always an incredible experience. So okay, good. Now we're going to dive in today, and I am going to see if I can share this with you. So the beauty of being in the spirit world as we're going through all of this fun is all the interesting ways you experience technology and AI. So, all right. Thank you. Welcome. I'm so excited to explore more of decoding the Library of the Infinite with one of my most favorite friends, Maria Wheatley. And so, as you know, Maria and I have done some really fun things in the UK this year, last year, and we're going to be doing some more next year. And now Maria's coming here to Mexico, and this is her first time. So we've shared a little bit about this with you. It's going to be March 1st to 8th. And the key here is Maria has some really new, exciting research. She's got a lot of, here's all of the ways you can find Maria. She has so much happening all the time in terms of decoding sacred sites, understanding the reflections in the stars and the constellations. And so what you want to do is just tune into the wisdom, and we're going to play with this idea. And what we're doing is really inviting you. Yes, it's a sacred retreat. Yes, it's here with epic food and delicious wonderfulness and beautiful hotels with pools under the jungle. And yet we're also going to be with our my Mayan elder teacher, and he's going to take us to sacred ceremonies and explain some of the real truth of these sites as well. And Maria is going to be here doing her magic. So as you know, she's a master dowser, and she's a leading authority on earth energies. She's on Gaia TV and all kinds of things. She's got the Stonehenge secrets, and she's working on a new book that she might share with you a little bit. And all of the things that Maria does comes together to what I really love about her is that she's not just spouting out scholarly things. She's taking them deeper. She's looking underneath it. She's really, truly interested in the energy, the spirituality, how these raise consciousness, who our ancestors were, how do we honor them, and all of us coming into a beautiful place of unity. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, it's going to be a really good, I think, as well as the word retreat, when people are around me, they come on a groundbreaking adventure as well. So I want to throw that into the pie as well, because I think we are going to be doing groundbreaking things, because my research in Egypt suggests a pyramid there behaves in a particular manner. And what I'm going to find out about the beautiful pyramids, and with Nan's guidance and her assistant's guidance, we're going to see if the Mexican pyramids are behaving in the same way as in ancient Egypt, because they are unusual there. Imagine that the base of a pyramid can throw out aerial energy, not earth energy, not ley energy, but aerial energy. And it's kind of like a ripple in a pond effect. You know, when you throw a stone into a pond and you're getting all of these concentric circle ripple effects, so to speak. Well, what I did last year, I measured with David Webb, a retired engineer. I could douse, obviously I'm a douser, I can douse exactly where these energy zones are. So we put some copper probes into the ground and thinking, what is this aerial energy? And so it's kind of coming out of the ground, but it's aerial in form. So it's kind of doing this. And we found it has a beautiful sound frequency. And that sound frequency is 133 hertz, which is very relaxing and very good for healing. And there's also another frequency associated with this energy pattern. And this is what I love. This is what I think the priestesses of times past were doing. It activates in sound music therapy, that same Hertzian frequency, around about 195 hertz, activates the throat chakra. So could you imagine that the priestess, just about before she does her ritual, knows exactly where to stand before even entering a pyramid or a stone circle? So we may find these concentric energy flows and interact with it and open our throat chakras, have experience healing as well, and do the comparisons with ancient Egypt to ancient Mexico. And are the two are the same? I can't say for sure now because I haven't been there. This is why it's going to be groundbreaking, and we're going to discover the equivalence of these two ancient civilizations that may have crossed over, given exchange of ideas, thought in the collective or actual physical, and allowed the energy programs of these pyramids to unite. There's one thing I do know, that if you're at a site like Stonehenge, returning to my stomping ground, if you're at a site like Stonehenge, you're actually communicating to every other single monument in the world. So that's because they're all connected. Yeah, they're all connected. So what we're going to do in ancient Mexico and the ancient Yucatan with Nan's guidance is we're going to be looking to see the linkage between the temples on site, because there's going to be different temples on site, then where are they releasing the energy worldwide? So that hasn't been done in Mexico before. So we're going to do that. And to top it all, we're going to be using some equipment that Richard C. Hoagland of the other side of midnight.com, he's a very famous author on the monuments of Mars. He's looked extensively into the ancient city on Mars called Cydonia. Recently, on a radio show that I did with Richard, and you can Google this on the NASA website, there's a perfect base of a pyramid. And that pyramid is absolutely huge. And we've been decoding that. And with his equipment, we're going to see what's called the results of a torsion field. What's a torsion field? Well, if you go to Wikipedia, and I don't recommend you go to Wikipedia to look up a torsion field, they will tell you it's pseudoscience. And it's fringe pseudoscience. But what a torsion field is, imagine it's like a big bubble around a sacred site, a bit like we have an aura, don't we? We're a bubble-like aura, for argument's sake. And this energy field can move and spin. Yeah, that's torsion energy when it's moving and spinning. what we can see by doing what's called a control, having a look at the energy field outside of the pyramid to when we're in pyramid energy, we're going to see time distortion in the torsion field. And what the torsion field can also do is it can enhance your psychic ability. It can also, for example, create paranormal effects. It's the energy field that the ancients were tapping into, as well as the earth energies and ley lines. So we're going to be having a look firsthand at torsion fields. And I was working only this morning with Richard Hoagland, based in New Mexico, on Zoom, and we were given great recordings at the last full moon. Okay, so we know that these torsion fields can. And what's the torsion field in Mexico? Nobody knows. This is groundbreaking. We're going to be seeing if we can get that torsion field. We're going to be dousing that torsion field, and I will find for you the power place within that energy field.
Wow. Wow, where am I? I can't see myself. So yeah, it's so amazing to me, the ability to do this kind of thing. And I go to the sites, right, and I'm learning dowsing from you, and I try to figure it out. And I remember asking you some questions once, and you said, well, if nobody's ever looked at that site and you're starting from zero, right? You have to kind of start with feeling into the pattern of it. And that's really the truth here. Now, I just came back from an 8-day retreat with Miguel Angel and his partner Trudy in Casaquin, and we did a sacred Mayan retreat, and we went to a few of these sites, Uxmal, one that we're going to be going to. And so it's being with someone like that, everything I've spent 10 years learning here, by going to the sites, by talking to people who live there, reading and sifting through all of the books that, have a little bit of truth somewhere, but there is so little that has been like this, like, in Egypt, Stonehenge, how many people are interested in coming, measuring these things, and then the ability to see, the difference it makes to people when they feel the dowsing rod moving, right? And they're like, oh, it's real. It's not invisible. It's not in my mind. And then to see, like you said, these torsion fields, which we know are exactly what we feel if we're in meditation or shamanic journeying or when we go to these sites. But I am over the moon about this, because some of the things that Miguel told us at one site, it's never been written down anywhere. I said, well, I was doing the compass. I'm like, okay, there was a very unusual temple, and we determined what it was doing. And I was looking at the orientation, north, south, east, west, or whatever. But he said, well, we would have to come here or have somebody who knows how to track the equinoxes or whatever, because there's nothing written about that. But the site was the site of training for priestesses in sacred sounds.
That's the other thing I've looked at just recently, briefly. I will do more work while I'm there. I think near enough I have cracked the musical harmonics of Chichén Itzá. Okay, and I can do a comparison of that to Stonehenge and a comparison of that to the Great Pyramid. They all share a musical harmonic, which I'm no alert spoilers here. You're going to have to come along and find out that. But you can sing in that tone as well. The other thing about torsion field is that this is where it's called fringe physics, and pseudo physics. A torsion field can generate communication faster than the speed of light. That's what it's thought of. So could you imagine being in a torsion field and then communicating to the stars, to the earth herself at beyond the speed of light? And it can increase our consciousness in matter. So the torsion field can interact with the pyramid structure. It's mass, if you will. Yeah, it's mass. Everything has mass. And then it can be transformative. So we're going to see the musical side of the pyramids as well. And I'll be teaching everybody to dowse, and Nan will be helping me with that, because she's a great student. So we're going to go away with the skill as well, but we're going to see these pyramids through the beautiful Mayan rich heritage that is Miguel's, and we're also going to see it through the eyes of musical harmonics and earth energies, bringing the ancient culture of the West, which I embody, to the Mayan structures as well. So it's going to be like a holding of hands and a heart to heart and hand in hand, and exploring all of these different ideas that draw us ever closer to the truth of place.
Yeah, it is so amazing, because when I first came here and started doing retreats, after like, I think the third retreat, I kept going a little bit further, you know, from where I lived on the Mayan Riviera, to say, well, what other, I liked finding the pyramids nobody went to, right? And we could do ceremony there, and we could be alone, and lots of things. And I found one, and it's not really that tall. You can't, I mean, if you did climb it, it wouldn't be like very much, but there was such an unusual structure to it. And the room at the top had almost like a magnetic feeling, like a glow, or like what you were saying, like a pulse maybe. And one of my Mayan friends told me before, I said, what do you know about this pyramid? And they said, oh, that's a portal to Egypt right there at the top. And it was like, I asked several more people, not the tourist people, but the other people, and they was kind of like, oh yeah, that's one of them. And so there was known, you know, and the idea that these sites are all connected. I saw that so many years ago, the pyramids that are even under the water outside Jamaica and Japan, right? They're still connected, you know, and you can see and hear the frequencies coming out of here. The Maya, and I'm sure, like, you know, when we go to Stonehenge with you, you show us like this stone doesn't just have the frequency of what it's made out of, like the certain types of crystals, but who worked it, right?
Yes, stone program.
Yeah. And so, you know, the same thing here, they talk about how the stones aren't just memories, of course, but they are stuffed, they're programmed.
Yeah, and one incident where it was really discovered was by a woman archaeologist, a very famous woman archaeologist over here called Dr. Ross. And she worked with a colleague, and they were known very famously in the archaeological world because they could decode what the deceased person, especially for the Iron Age, they focused on the Iron Age, that's the Druid time in England, of what their stomach contents consisted of. So they're kind of a chemical analysis team. And there was a strange stone heads were found in a place called Hexham. They're now called, coined the phrase, the Hexham heads. Yeah. And I've spoken about this with Nan before, but what happened was this: they were programmed through sound. I now know the Hertzian frequency. I gave a lecture just on Saturday for the Basis project. I know what programs that with the Hertzian frequency, okay? And they tap, 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 tap. Imagine doing that to a stone, these heads, these Hexham heads. And then Anne Ross one evening, she literally manifested from this head was this kind of werewolf-like creature, person, and it thumped down her stairs. So this wasn't kind of an apparition, this was a 3D person. Now, what has gone into these places? We're going to find out that too, because I think in the feminine temples that Nan was describing that we're going to find particular types of goddess energy that maybe, if we could use a similar frequency, we can decode it by using that frequency. And I've got that frequency on my laptop. So we'll soon see if anything can become of that. We're going to be experimental with sound frequencies. Again, that has not been done in Egypt. It hasn't been done in Mexico because not a lot of people understand sound frequencies. And that's where I come in. I really have studied the past 6 months, the sound frequencies at ancient sites and how music was intimately woven into that. And that's what we're going to be in. We're going to be in an earth energy, sound frequency, musical harmonic field of love, potential, and manifestation.
Yeah. Woo. And we're going to know it, right? We're not going to just be like, oh, I'm at a sacred site. It feels good. We're going to actually be sensing it, feeling it, understanding it at another level, and then relating it to it from a spiritual level, from a logical perspective, from a sensory level, right? One thing I love when we're with you is like, okay, there's a vortex under this altar, and we get to feel it and experience it. And then you encourage people to now feel that anchor, that feeling, so that in the future, wow, I'm feeling that reminded me. So we remember, we reactivate those senses. I think that they had. Well, one thing that's really exciting about being with the Mayan elder is, especially because he was a director at Chichén Itzá for 4 years, so he knows
his stuff.
Yeah, and he came from not just a tourist background, like working in that industry. He came from the sacred background too. So but I think I shared a little video with you from the retreat. We were at this place, and one thing he pulled me aside and told me, when you're at these sites now, when you're really connected to spirit, you would call the spirit of place, Earth Mother, the ancestors, whatever's relevant there, ask for them to reveal the code for this temple to you. And then, really be in that deeply, like opening, and then take some pictures. Don't look. And later you might see, he said, blue or pink codes or symbols or things. But I also find that with the frequencies, right? Are you using this with chanting or words?
You can bring it in once you're in a kind of musical harmonic zone. So, for example, at Stonehenge, I decoded all of these sound frequencies there. So let's say you're stood by the iconic outer stone circle, and in between the blue stones, there's like a bit of a gap. It creates a gap there at a place like Stonehenge, where you're now in the mathematical harmonic frequency of the major third. The major third in music is used a lot in Gothic cathedrals, in churches, because it raises your emotional understanding. It raises your emotional self to a higher level and a higher frequency. So once you're kind of harmonizing these energy zones and having fun doing so, incidentally, you become one with the site. You become one with the sound there. And the exciting thing is, I think that Mexico is going to match with Egypt and with some of the sound frequencies of Stonehenge, and we can find the lays. They're the ones that straight lines that link ancient sites, and we're also going to find particular female earth energies and masculine earth energies there, as well as many other things. So we're really going to be interacting with place. And once you put a temple or a stone circle or a pyramid in that energy zone, that's when the magic opens up, and that's when the magic happens. And that's what we're going to be seeing, experiencing, and feeling, and taking away with us. Yeah, we're going to take that energy away to enhance our everyday life. So it's not like you're just going to go on holiday, lie on the beach, listen to a song. You're going to take the most holiest of holies energies away and bring them back home. And that's what I find beautiful about traveling to different ancient sites worldwide.
Yeah, me too. It's like, to go there, to see it, to relate to it personally, but to go in a sacred way, and then to go with an intention and go with a group, and having all of us awakening our senses, in a way to bring our wisdom. Each person who comes is going to have some experience, bring the wisdom. And then I'm so excited about being like, having you come with this wisdom and then Miguel Angel fill in this. Because the whole time I'm there with him is I'm like, I know this. What do you, what do you know about this? What opens a new door to it, right? Oh, what's a different meaning to that? And so Chichén Itzá is such an incredibly powerful place that it's become very popular, and so, but it still is one of the most impressive places. I think it's one of the 7 wonders of the world for a reason, because, and they don't even, know or tell you. But, during the descent of the serpent, the solar serpent, we're going to be there for the first day of that, and other people won't know. And we'll be chanting the sacred chants that go with manifesting each triangle of light, which creates this perfect balance, masculine, feminine, dark light, right? And and I've heard Miguel say this many times. He says, imagine 50,000 priests and priestesses all chanting this together, standing around this, having been trained for this moment. And the whole plaza is dirt and grass now, but it was tile. It was painted red. And the vibrations that would be coming out, of the stones, like you're talking about, the harmonics that would go, that would shift, the level of consciousness that you'd be at. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to think. And if all time exists, then we're standing there. We could tune into that too.
Absolutely. And at Stonehenge, in one of the folklore mythologies about the place, was the perpetual choirs. And the perpetual choirs were people singing constantly by day and by night, hour after hour after hour, knowing which tone to sing in, knowing where to sing. That is what I brought to the perpetual choirs. And I also feel that together, with love and with wisdom and with open heart minds, we do open certain portals anyway within place, even if you don't know what they are, where they are, and how they work and how they function, and all of the rest. By being in a good heart space will be a key that we can use anyhow. So I'd always like to add that about an ancient site, because we are all teachers and we are all guides in our own worth and merit as well. But it is exciting to go with wisdom keepers, and it is exciting to learn many different ways of opening these doors through the wisdom of the Mayan elder, through the wisdom of Nan, for example, and coming together. It's about coming together now, not being separate. We were separated in 2020. Now is a time of coming together, not just being on Zoom, although I love being on Zoom with Nan, but not just being with, seeing it through a virtual eye. Like, that's what people want to encourage us. Oh, you don't go out, but we're going to go out. We're going to breathe the air. We're going to see the pyramids that our ancient ancestors created and walk in their footsteps around these sites.
Yeah. It's really quite incredible what happens at the sites if you've been to them. Last year, when I learned my Mayan birth sign, I was looking deeper into it. And so, similar to Western astrology, it'll say like, you like these things. These are your places that make you feel good, your power spots and things like that. So I had to crack up because it said pyramids and sacred sites.
Of course it did. I wouldn't expect anything else, Nan.
It wasn't even like nature, it was super specific. So I'm like, yeah, that. And yes, we are doing our solstice ceremony here at the house on Saturday morning with my friends, and then they leave and we leave, and we're going to Chichén Itzá for the new moon, the solstice, for several nights. So we're going to be right there where we're going to be with Maria. We're going to be looking at the observatory. We're going to be going all over, and I had a wonderful meeting with Miguel Angel yesterday about what this is all about right now, why this is so significant, and then where specifically at Chichén Itzá to go So I'm gonna go. So we'll go check it out. I'm gonna go see a temple. Now, a lot of these temples you can't walk up onto, but the center of it was a big pool, a big bath, a big, and you can still see it from pictures in the center, and it has 7 columns that represented your 7 bodies, your 7 chakras, and this is where you went to cleanse. This is where you went to come into the site. Like you're talking about, like you would know how to enter. And right next to it are the remains of ancient steam baths, like the Romans had.
Absolutely. And even in Karnak, Egypt, you have the sacred lake, because all the priestesses and the priests there would shave their heads, shave their body. They wouldn't have any body hair whatsoever. They wore a lot of wigs, which is the traditional way we see the ancient Egyptians. So yes, to the ancient Egyptians, cleanliness was next to godliness. And that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then we were at one site that was the name means the stones of the sacred sounds or something like this. So it was literally a path of like becoming a fire priestess. It was a particular path where you mastered frequency, sound, music, from chant to energy medicine to seeing it, and everything at this place was aligned for that. And so interesting, the Egyptian connection. So we were talking about codes. You had to know, like, the certain chants that would open a certain temple would open the frequencies, like what you're talking about. That would be like, okay, we're going to open this harmonic level for you because it's time for you to do what. And I don't know what you found, but what the Maya elders talk a lot about is that, you can prepare, you go, but the masters of light, the teachers in the spirit realm, they know what's best for you next, right? So, they may open this door for you to this harmonic, but maybe not to a higher one. Or maybe you'll start feeling sick and need to leave, after 3 minutes versus, 3 hours or something like that. But the chant, so he taught it to us, and it was like, Ak, Na, Tune, whatever, but it came out to be Akhenaten. The name Akhenaten, broken down into each syllable, was the chant to open this one temple.
That's really interesting. That's probably why he changed his name from Amenhotep the fourth to Akhenaten. Could be one interpretation of that. I mean, it's very interesting at the solstice, and a bit like yourself now. And I'm going to be at Avebury. Many years ago, decades ago, I discovered the shadow lines. Chichén Itzá, for example, it's going to be that lovely light snake serpent coming down. But at Avebury, it was about shadows, dark shadow lines that would align to certain stones and create a shadow line. And that's going to be filmed. We're going to probably edit it, then put it out on Facebook and on Mysterious Universe channel that we've just created. And I'm going to reactivate my own channel as well. So at these sites, it's you think you're kind of looking around and you're seeing things, and because when we go to these places, don't think they've all been decoded, because we know about the serpent, we know about the moon, we know about the sun. Go there and suddenly it opens up to you if the ancestors decree that way, and we will be able to discover new things. I know we're going to discover new things, and we're going to be able to share that with the Mayan wisdom keepers there, and explore these sites like nobody else has, and they will open up to us in their heart mind as well, hand in hand and heart to heart.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, so we've talked a little bit about Chichén Itzá, which everybody probably knows pretty well, although I have met people this year that didn't know there were pyramids in Mexico. There's pyramids in Mexico. Okay. There's more pyramids here, I think, than anywhere else, at least that they've found. We have 4,000 or something just in the Yucatan, not that have been excavated. Okay. There's a very, very small percentage. And of each site, there's a small percentage of that site that has been not just uncovered, but that you're allowed to go to, in a way that you can connect with it. However, I'm really excited to say since they shut things down during COVID, one thing they shut down is now opening again. And I think that that's a very positive, energetic to focus on.
Well, that's exciting, Nan. So where's that? Describe it to us.
Yeah. So it's Koba. Now we're going to be going to something called Kaba, which is next to Uxmal. And the site we're going to go to is I can't wait to see. Oh, we should have no problem like measuring that, because it's a smaller site in terms of what they've excavated. But the meaning of it is the strong right hand. Like, this is the place of the strength. And we do activations in front of a wall of chalk rain god masks. And so the whole thing is carvings of the rain god, which is the abundance. And it's a very interesting, the mask is many, many pieces, vortexes and all kinds of meaning in it. But every time we go there, we levitate. We have bees literally coming like all around us, but nothing happening. We had one time where everyone's crystals, jewelry and crystals they were holding started to change and create new landscapes inside of them that kept happening and glow blue. So that site in particular is going to be really exciting, and we're going to be there with Maria. But the site I'm talking about is called Koba. And we used to go there. It's the one that I wrote my past life story in the new book, Lifetimes, that's out now if you want to get that, by Adam Apollo. And one of my story of my first memory of Chris and I having a Mayan life together. And it was when we went to Koba. So Koba is a huge, huge site. It's an hour and a half or so from Playa del Carmen into the jungle. It's still a very thriving Pueblo community. They have surprisingly big lakes, around it, and many, many sakbe, many of these roads that didn't just connect the site and many temples within the site, but then out through the peninsula and to many, many other cultures. They were very, very, very connected. And so it was, at the time, you could climb it, and they said it was the tallest or one of the tallest. I don't actually know how tall it is. And so we would climb it, and I used to be able to get permission to go early on the equinox with my group, and we would be at the top at 6:30 when the sun rose, doing ceremony with candles and the whole thing. And then during COVID, they literally, the archaeologists took down the chain in the middle that you walked, and they closed it, and you couldn't even get close to it. You could just look at it like, hi, there you are. And they are opening it in a couple of weeks. They built a wooden, I'm just going to cry. They built a wooden staircase up the center that has one row for people to go up and one row for people to come down. So now it solves the problem of anybody getting hurt and anyone hurting the pyramid.
Yay.
And I had no idea anybody was thinking this. And I live here. And so to me, that's just, wow, that is an empowering sign that they could do that at Chichén Itzá now, right? They could do that at many of the sites that they have said it's too dangerous or it's too important of a site, to allow access to. So very exciting.
That sounds amazing. So Koba, yeah. Well, so okay, Nan. What's your go-to place then? What's your favorite place that we're going to be experiencing together?
That's very hard to say because Koba used to be my favorite place. And then when they shut it, I did a few more retreats there because it's huge. There's lots of temples, and we went into vortexes where, like the Fae messing with you, the Alush, they're called here. They like to play games with you. So I was in this area, very jungly, but lots of sites, buildings, and my group, and we were walking around and we couldn't find each other. We couldn't see each other, but we could hear each other. It was just weird, So we did go there a lot. But currently my favorite place is Uxmal. So that's the town that we've talked about.
Oh, the one that you showed with all the pyramids in, and you were on this beautiful balcony or something, Nan. Is it that one?
Yeah, it's the Yellow City, and it's a very, very, people know it, but it's not well visited. And that's the one that was the first city built by Yaxhunah, who's the father that came from Atlantis. And the 13 priestesses holding red staffs parted the sea so they could walk from Atlantis to here. How's that for an interesting story compared to other myths of the world like Moses? So they built Uxmal first, and they know of 19 pyramids. There were probably 27. Most of them aren't, but there's going to be 3 that we can go in, we can climb, you can measure, and they're all right in the town. They're surrounded by houses in town. So, we'll just walk a block or 2 and, and have lunch at a Mayan restaurant and then walk and go to the next pyramid. And so I like to go there because I feel really connected to this town. It's very quiet, very peaceful. And I can go up those pyramids, and 3 of them, and it'll be quite amazing. The one is 32 meters. I can't remember if that's correct or something. The one I go up most of the time. And then Uxmal, which we just went to on the retreat this last week, is what I call my beloved. And that's the Sacred Feminine University. That's the one. We'll be there for 2 nights, staying at the gorgeous lodge right in front of the pyramid. And what's cool, because it was done in the past, we wouldn't do it now, but what's cool is it's already done, right? Is that, the people who owned it, like a ranch, took the stones, built the hotel, and you're sitting literally next to your hotel as part of the pyramid, part of the ruins. And so you're going to be sleeping with the ancestors. You can, from the first balcony on the little thing, you can see the top of the main pyramid, and we can walk. That's the one near the chocolate museum. And it's just so beautiful because there's these big lagoon pools under the jungle trees, and they bring you beautiful food next to the pool and the palapa. And so we'll be going in with you, and then we'll be in with Miguel, and we'll be going to Kaba. And so we'll be able to be in that space, and you'll have a couple of nights to really connect. And they don't do a night show anymore, I just learned, which is kind of interesting because I didn't really care what they said, but I liked to be on the land at night, like you can do in Avebury. And everything. But there's so many places there. There's the Pyramid of the Moon, the Priestess Quadrangle, where all the classrooms were that still have all the carvings. There's the Jaguar Temple. There's the Pyramid of the Sun. There's the Temple of the Turtle, which I learned more about. There's turtles all around the top of it carved, every one of them different, and they look like an evolution of turtles, like how they knew, box turtles and these other turtles, who knows. But a turtle in Maya is Ak, and that's the symbol of Atlantis. So it's the temple of Atlantis, Aklatan, I forgot what they call it. And the whole site, I never realized that it's a huge site. So here's all the feminine university stuff. And then you go down into the ball court area, which is considered Xibalba, or the underworld. So that's the surface world where the priestesses are. You go down into this area that was representing the underworld. And then you went way up on this Acropolis to the Pyramid of the Sun and the Jaguar throne. And that's considered heaven or sky or the, above. And then there's on the corner of that, there's this temple for Atlantis, and we were standing there discussing it, and there's doors, all the way around it, 2 rooms, and we didn't realize we were standing right in the middle, and we looked, and the door went all the way through the temple and framed the classroom with this big carving in the middle of the Feminine University, all the way across.
Incredible. That sounds absolutely incredible. So, what I love about Nan and her personal relationship, and it is a personal relationship with all of these wonderful sites, is be able to point out what the guidebooks, what other people haven't seen, because Nan has this relationship that she's learned from the Mayan elder there and can show us the evolution of the turtle and take us into these places, which will be a wonder that often aren't, like Nan said earlier, aren't the main tourist attractions. So we're going to have this wonderful experience of going to the known sites, the famous ones, which need no introduction, but also into the sites that are lesser known and have lesser people there as well. So it'll be a very intimate experience there, won't it, Nan?
Oh yeah, yeah. The people here are so beautiful, and I think it's important to address the current conversation, I guess, that's going on in the world. A lot of hatred and a lot of fear that might be going on. I don't tune into it. However, I know I live in Mexico, and I know a lot of people talk bad about Mexico, always have. It's gone up in the US to epic proportions. And I wouldn't tell you to go everywhere in Mexico like anywhere else. I wouldn't tell you to go everywhere anywhere. However, I have to say that we're going to be based in Merida, and it is voted every single year the first or second safest city in all the Americas, from in Quebec or Merida. So that means it's safer than anywhere in America. Now, what does that mean? That means that in this particular area, that's the culture. The Yucatecan culture is to look you in the eye and say, hola, buenos dias, whether they know you or not, right? Whether you're just walking down the street. I go to Uxmal and I get up very, very early and I climb the pyramid. And when I come back down, a few people are out starting their day. There might be an old man on a little bicycle go by. We look each other in the eye. Hola, buenos dias. We don't, they never just go by. Okay. So that I find the people here warm and friendly and helpful. I find the culture rich and beautiful, the food flavorful. It's one of these places that if you haven't been, it's going to be a magical experience. And if you have been, I was just on a retreat and most of the people had come in the past, 16 years ago, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 3 years ago, they wanted to come back. So there's a lot. You get to have that trip, you know, the exotic experience, the adventure, the flavors. But I do want to tell you, it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Yes, it's a poor country. It's like going to Egypt or going to some of those places. You're going to go through jungle towns. These people don't have money. But the beauty is how they love their culture and how they live it, and how you coming here is they love it. They are honored by that because they get to then share with you something that means something to them. And that's what I love about, like you said, being able to be in person. We can look at them, we can see pictures, we can meditate with them, but being here, touching it, tasting it, just an interaction with someone. We feed dogs everywhere we go. You know, there's always a pyramid dog. There's always a mother dog somewhere that we see, and we always bring pouches of food. You know, we don't get all judgy about people not taking care of the dogs. We're just like, oh, goody, we get to feed this dog and she's happy and we're happy. And so this is a beautiful, beautiful experience always to travel, as you know, because you've been to a zillion places. And so I'm very honored and excited to host you all here, to bring you here. It means a lot to me.
Oh, well, we've got the best people and your wisdom and your love for the place. You know, I love, you know, where I am. Excuse me, I got a slight cold. And it's having that love. And when you have that love and that connects you to the site, it connects you to the ancestors, and we're going to feel the most powerful earth energies. We're going to be breathing in the ancient past and being a part of it. And like I said, I always take that energy back home. What have I learned? And then I reflect and maybe meditate or even get inspired to do something, because these are inspirational sites. They give you what we say as Druids, the Arwen, and the Arwen is inspiration of the goddess Bridget, or Breed, as she's sometimes called in Gaelic. So we'll be in these energy fields that can give us inspiration, and we leave differently. We can enter these sites, but when we leave and we go away, we come back kind of anew and a little bit different, or have learned something about the sites, and that is priceless.
Yeah, it's always transformational. There's even if you don't come with a big agenda, there's no way to do that. And the beauty is that we weave together the fun and that we're talking about with Maria, with activations, meditations at the sites, and then Miguel Angel is going to take us through sacred ceremonies before we go in with him to Uxmal, to some hill I've never been to, some shaman he knows that's going to take us to say, so those kinds of things, that aren't on the tourist agenda anywhere. We get to experience those and then go and walk in another way. So I think that what's going to happen is everybody coming is going to have this cleansing, this, releasing, of course, getting out of your mundane world really helps. And then, but on the path, receiving so much love, or so much presence, quiet, the jungle, the nature, the beauty, the spirit of it. And then we go in and we're like, wow, look what we learned today with Maria. And then we go and we go, then you have another level, right? Because we're multidimensional. So you might have a physical experience or an emotional release, or you'll have an aha and a logical inspiration. But then this is going to take you even deeper into accessing. One thing that I love about the Maya is that they truly believe that you are important as an individual, that you have a purpose, and that everyone else's purpose is to make sure that we all are living our purpose, that we all are nurtured to be what we came here to be. And then we're all happy, and then we're all healthy. So that kind of thing is that we go on this that way, and everybody's going to be receiving what they want.
Well, isn't that beautiful that that's a kind of cultural backdrop of understanding, which is really kind of discussing the soul's divine purpose and who are we, what did we come here to do and to achieve, and to be in that energy field is just going to be amazing. I'm so excited. I mean, as we know, I haven't been here before. So it's going to be the first time for me, but I know that if I could choose any other teacher, I wouldn't, because we're with an elder, and we're with Nan, and we're being good company.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, what's fun is that I live here, and then I go to the places, I talk to them beforehand. And during the planning, it's not like a logical planning. It's literally like, oh, what should we do here? Oh, that's good. So me going to Chichén Itzá this coming weekend for a few nights is, for me personally, it's for the new moon, it's for the solstice, it's for the transformation that's happened this year. And it's also for me to talk to the site about our trip, to see us there, to walk around there, to open those new doors and some of the new things that I've been told to go do. So we'll open some more magical doors. Well, good. So anything you want to share, since this is the on the eve or verge of the new moon and the solstice, regardless of where anybody is, because you have such powerful wisdom around these things. What can you share with people to help them walk through this in the most optimal way?
The beautiful thing about the winter solstice, it decrees lighter times ahead. And to our ancient ancestors, it was the starting point. So anything you want to seed for the future in the year ahead, start thinking about it now. You can plant that seed into the winter solstice, and then the light will heat up the ground, and then the shoots start coming up for around Imbolc. So I would say go into your heart space and think about, what can I achieve? What can I sow my seed for 2026? And under the beautiful rays of the new moon as well, that's the maiden aspect of the lunar cycle, and that too coincides with new beginnings. And now we can spread those new beginnings outwards even more to, what do we want for our society? What do I want for my community here in this part of Wiltshire where I live? Don't just think about the self. Move that new beginning out. And we need that at this time for the energy workers, for want of a better expression, to think outwards and to ripple those new beginnings, take away the fear, bring in the love and understanding, bring in those possibilities, those potentials, because we are in a hyperdimensional universe where everything is possible. So for me, I think it represents new beginnings, sowing seeds under the light of the moon in the same place where it is in the sun, because a conjunction means they're quite close. It could be north-south or vice versa, but they're coming together, the sun and the moon, the male and the female also representing balance.
Yeah, it's so much fun to track the phases of the moon, the cosmic energies, because they affect us. We're one with them. We co-create with them. But mostly in the modern world, we've been taught to just rush forward and stay in your logical mind and not take the breath and not hear the breeze and not, listen to what's happening around you. That's so beautiful. That's so full of medicine. That's so full of power. And this is one of my favorite times of year because it is like we're going to the deepest, darkest part, right? We're like in the darkest, in the northern hemisphere, we're the longest night and the dark moon, and we've got Persephone there, and it just feels really, really wonderful to go to the depths of yourself and reclaim whatever has been hidden in there, and then bring it back like that new sun, like that baby, that sun, bring it back up to grow into the light. So wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Wonderful, inspiring, exciting. I can't wait to have a beautiful, wonderful holiday. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to join me for the solstice on Saturday for our ceremony with Christian. It's going to be amazing. And have a beautiful and blessed day. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kelly. Ciao.